You're listening to The Litter Box, a Detroit Tigers podcast, with your hosts, Chet West and Bill Patterson. Here's what's on deck for this episode.
But there are some real concerns about this team heading forward.
Troy Melton pitched today. Okay, game 3. It looked bad at the start.
Can you build a franchise around Riley Green?
But right now, we're elevating ourselves. We're supposed to be in a higher air, right?
Welcome to the Litter Box, Detroit Tiger fans. We knew this would happen. It's a 162-game season. You can't win them all. Even great teams still lose 62 times, 52 times. And the Tigers, after coming off a tough weekend set against the Rangers, looked absolutely putrid against the Pittsburgh Pirates. They lost on Monday 3-0, which no shame in that because Paul Skenes was dealing. They lost 8-5 yesterday, Tuesday, and then today they lost 6-1. And they looked uncompetitive in all 3 games. And again, I don't want to take the tone, and I don't know that my co-host does either, that the sky's falling in, but there are some real concerns about this team heading forward, as we embark on what's soon to become the dog days of summer. Just doing a quick recap. Game 1, bad Jack Flaherty was back. He was at 80 pitches through 3 innings, and good Jack Flaherty emerged and would get 2 strikes on someone, get 0-2 counts, and then 3-4 pitches later, it'd be a full count, and then you'd end up either walking somebody or hanging a curve, and somebody would light him up, and that's what happened. It was 3-0. It's interesting. Chet and I talked in our last pod, keys to success for this series, and the only thing I could come up with was the Tigers taking a lot of pitches against Paul Skenes. And they were not able to do that, and it was a 3-0 loss. The worst game of the season happened to be Tuesday. The Tigers looked like the bad news Bears. I mean, there were lethargic base running. There was lethargic. I don't know what Wencel Perez was thinking, not touching home plate, and then allowing O'Neal Cruz to just leisurely jog his way in from second base on a missed throw to Torkelson at first. It was really, really bad. And then today, they just weren't in it. I mean, the entire time. That being said, I guess if I had to give some highlights on this, and, Chad, I'm curious to get your thoughts as well. The good news, if I could give any good news, the bullpen has actually been pretty good, unless your name's Carlos Hernandez. And we did get to see a call-up today. Troy Melton got his first start today. 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 Ks. Overall, he wasn't great, but given that it was a spot start, he looked pretty good, but I've got real concerns because I don't see an alpha dog 1 through 9 that can rally this team. And right now, Riley Green's going through another cold spell. So is Javier Baez, and so is Gleyber Torres. And when that happens, that's basically a third of your lineup that's not producing. And that is how you enter Pittsburgh and emerge with a whopping 6 runs over 3 games. Chet, what are your thoughts?
Think we're going to start looking like old Nostradamus here pretty soon. So, Bill, you called it dead right. If you don't get the pitch count up on Skenes, you're going to have a tough time. And I'm pretty sure I said this is going to be a tough series because we have to start off with Skenes. So you're starting off in the hole. The guy is that good right now. Okay, not saying we got to trade for him. We're not saying we got to empty out the farm for him. All the crazy talk. The Pirates are not getting rid of Paul Skenes right now. That said, he commanded that game to the tune of us having 0 runs. 0. Out of the 3 games this weekend, we had 1 where we had 5 runs. That was game 2. Unfortunately, things did not work out because we gave up 8. In game 3, we had 1 run. We averaged 2 runs per game. The stats work well against you when you're below 4 runs a game. Well against you. We're talking in the 20 to 25% win percentage range when you are below 4 runs. That doesn't work. Doesn't work for this team. We have been able to win those games where we don't put up 4 runs, basically when Skubal is the pitcher. Because Skubal does Skenes-like things. You saw it in Texas where we won 2-1. Skubal keeps the other team from scoring because he's so good. Another pitcher who's so good. So we can grab a few wins from that low percentage and bump our percentages up in those low scoring games when Skubal pitches. I just don't see a team succeeding when we're at the scoring averages that we're at right now. I mean, we've gone, what do we have? 3 series back. We got swept. We won a game. We got swept. That's basically how the last 3 series have gone.
That's correct.
So you're looking at a team that's just not scoring. And we scored in the Mariners series when we got swept, but we didn't pitch well. Then we get to Texas and we pitch well, but we don't score. And then we get to Pittsburgh. We really don't do anything well. We didn't do anything well in Pittsburgh. We
Outside
didn't hit.
Of the bullpen.
And the bullpen was about it. And by the time the bullpen got into games, it was pretty much done. So I'm going to say we need pitching. First and foremost, I think we do still need pitching. We need a starting pitcher. My problem, and I keep going back to this, is what's out there and available isn't worth top-tier prospects. Everything is a 1-year rental. You saw Mitch Keller this past week, okay? Let's suppose Mitch Keller is the top option we've got for somebody who has some control. Mind you, Mitch is making 16.9 this year, 18.4 next year, and 20.5 in the third year. You are paying Mitch Keller, who's been okay this year. His stats are a little deceiving. He's been a better pitcher than statistically you could derive, but is he worth a guy like a Max Clark? Are you trading a Josue Persino for him? There's no way you're trading a McGonigal for him. If we did that, I'd be like, I'm out. This is weird. There's no way we're going to be going that route. So then you're looking at guys like Zach Eflin, who's about the same, but is only controlled for a year. I hope we aren't trading anything for him. You're looking at guys like Severino for the A's. We saw that already. We saw that show. Not worth it. So I'm a little hesitant to go grab like a Jeffrey Springs from the Athletics. He's the second to Severino basically on that club. He's going to get $10.5 million in 2026 and $15 million in 2027. He's 32. All right. He's not fitting the long-term plans of the A's. He's kind of just sort of popped lately. He's been okay this year. Quality starts. 10 out of 15 starts this year have been quality starts. But are you throwing a bunch at Jeffrey Springs? I just don't like to pay that much for that level of arm. And Jeffrey Springs could be Matthew Boyd circa 3 years ago when we get him. And you know what? In 3 more years, he could turn into Matthew Boyd and be the ace of the Cubs. And gosh knows, our luck would just turn that way. I just don't like the gamble. I don't like giving up all of the goods that we have coming up through the system to make us a stronger team. I think the Tigers have to think about their farm system. They're not going to be a $250 million a year roster. They just won't. So we have to start thinking, managing this responsibly. If they can get creative and land something crazy, go for it.
I agree with everything you said, and I still think a starting pitcher's desperately needed, more so than relief help at this point. I mean,
I think we need it more than a bat, but
that's
where the quality of the bat depends at that point.
Well, let me tell a little tale to our listeners.
Here we go.
That maybe aren't following the Arizona Diamondbacks. And why would you? You're listening to a Tigers podcast. And the Diamondbacks are upcoming the series after next. So we have a 4-game set against the Blue Jays and then a 3-game set against the Diamondbacks. And the name that we should all be paying attention to is Eugenio Suarez, ex-Tiger. And he is now the man of the hour. He is challenging Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge for Major League lead in home runs. He smacked 2 on Saturday and then 2 more on Sunday, and then hit another dinger on Monday. So he's got 36 for the season, and his price is just going up. I guess good for him and good for the Diamondbacks, but bad for the Tigers or the Yankees or the Cubs or whomever trades for him. I doubt it would be the Cubs because the Cubs offense is pretty solid, although they really haven't gotten a lot of production from third base, just like your Detroit Tigers. So it depends what we'd have to give up. And I have to imagine the Diamondbacks are going to want a pretty good haul for him. You brought up a really interesting point, Chet, and that is I'm not interested in guys on the wrong side of 30 that are going to be making big money. I am interested in guys on the that will turn 30 as Tigers, but I'm also with you. It's Chris Ilitch's money, but I'd rather re-sign who we have and who we know than I would take a flyer on some of the names that you just mentioned.
Re-signing who we have and who we know, and then supplementing with some of the young talent coming up in a year. I mean, you guys got to realize, I know everybody's talking about this window. Our window is kind of big right now. This group of players wasn't supposed to do this at this point.
And I'm really happy you brought that up because I think the listeners, our point from this pod is that we both, unless we're completely shocked and surprised, don't expect the Tigers to be big buyers in this market and give up what is an abundance of riches in the farms.
I just don't think it's going to be their style.
Well, I also don't know that it's prudent. I mean, I don't know that it's smart. At this point, they still have a decent lead in the division. Nobody else in the division seems to really want to claim it. So we'll see if the Guardians step up. We'll see if the Twins can develop any consistency. The Royals seem to be fading at this point, and obviously the White Sox have been out of it since the second week of the season. The Tigers are in a pretty good seat, or like catbird seat, if you would, for the fact that help is coming on the way. It's just been eerie, and
let's talk about that for a minute. Okay. I want to give a case in point here. Troy Melton pitched today. Okay. Game 3. It looked bad at the start. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, you sent me a text.
Into trouble.
Like, Melton is not the answer. I get that. He wasn't the answer today. He got in trouble right away. He's coming up pitching his first game, major league debut, hostile territory after they've dropped, 7 out of the last 8 games or whatever.
Well, they're officially 1-9 in their last 10, which is the worst 10-game stretch right now in Major League Baseball.
He got racked around. Tigers. He got racked around, but he showed me something. And this is why I think nerves and whatnot played into this. His last 2 innings were better than his first 3. He struck out 7 batters total today, and I think all of them came in the final 2 innings. He had some crazy stat line down the stretch today that was very impressive.
I'll let you dig for that.
5 Ks over 7 batters in the final 7 batters. It was something nuts. And it was great. And I sat there, I was like, he topped out at 99 miles an hour, a little over 99. I think guys like this, we've got weapons down there. We've got guys that can come up and play. You give Troy Melton 2 more starts, I bet people are going to say, wow, hey, this guy could be good. Hey, and if you're throwing Troy Melton to the Wolves, I want to throw a stat out there. I threw this at you today, Bill. What does everybody think Tarek Skubal's first start was in 2020? How did that go?
I can tell you it wasn't lights out, and it was very similar to Melton's start today.
It was against the Chicago White Sox. Tarek went 2 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 1 walk, 1 K, gave up a home run. That is about what Melton did today. Melton gave up a few more runs, had a lot more Ks. Okay.
Yeah, and he also finished 5 innings. Skubal went through 2.
Ended it very strong. Ate some innings. Came off the field. When they asked him questions, he had all the right answers. He's like, hey, at that point, you got rocked. You want to eat some innings after that. Great. I'm a believer in Troy Melton right now. I think he's going to be another guy we're going to look at in about 1 year, and we're going to say, wow, this guy's great. I hope we don't trade somebody like Troy Melton for what's out there. I think he could be a good pitcher.
I think he's better poised and possibly has a higher ceiling than any of the names you mentioned from a starting pitching standpoint.
So he got lit up today, but look at how that game went. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just a game. It's a game. It's not a zillion games. It's not 10 games, 20 games. It's just one, but I liked what I saw. I liked his velo. I liked his poise. He rebounded. He closed out over 2 innings in grand fashion. Dingler said he was doing what he needed to do. He just got racked around a little in the beginning. Might have been nerves. I'll take that. And there's guys like him in the system. He's our number 10 prospect.
Yeah.
All right.
So on this, I've got a question for you, but before I ask you that, I'm going to just talk to the listeners about this a bit. The Pittsburgh Pirates have the worst offense and runs scored this season, 350, and the Tigers just got beat up pretty heavily on that. I am beyond curious to see what happens in this next 4-game set. Again, the Blue Jays have played really well. They didn't play as well these last 3 games against the Yankees, a rise in competition. It's also a team in their division, but we've got our good pitchers coming about for the most part. Olsen starting game 1. We've got Montero game 2, Skubal game 3, and then we've got Flaherty game 4. So that's about as good as it's going to get at this point. I guess, if we could get Casey Mize in there somehow, but we need him there. I just am stunned that the Tigers still really only have 4 starting pitchers. And it seems like it's been a full calendar year that's what's going on, which is why I think it's so natural for fans. It was
cute last year, right?
Well,
it was cute last year when we were doing the chaos solution.
Yeah, it was out of necessity, and they were so red hot, and it was cute. It was a fun story.
They need a starter. We just talked about it. They need a starter. I just don't know that I want to pay too much for some of these guys.
Well, they did pay too much.
I'll evaluate the trade deadline by what we have to shell out, and it's scary because a lot of teams need what we need.
Here's the thing. We're the milk cartons with Alex Cobb's pitcher on it because nobody's seen him.
It's already been talked about. Everybody's still hoping he shows up. This is such a weird. He and Urquidy, the whole thing. That was just were they going to show up this year? We don't know. That was
a bad signing. Well, Urquidy, I give him more the benefit of the doubt. He wasn't supposed to pitch this year because of his injury,
right? Yeah,
I'm not saying
that we're going to sign you now and you cut us a deal for next year.
But this is one of those, the Alex Cobb thing. They probably should have listened to him when he said, "Nope, I'm retired."
Yeah,
and then they threw $15 million his way, and he was like, "Sure, I'll try."
Exactly.
It's easy for us to say he's not trying that hard. To pitch at that elite level and to be that type of competitor, he wants to be out there if he could, but he can't.
Hey, if AJ Hinch comes to my door right now and offers me a couple million to pitch for the Tigers, and I know I can't do it, I'm still going to cash that check. Yeah. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
I'm still going to go out there and try and learn a knuckleball or something to get me out of an inning.
So that was, I think, the most frustrating part of this, but we knew there was going to be a stinker of a series. We knew the Tigers were going to have malaise and have, bad 2-3 week stretch. And that's what we're going through right now. The question is how they come out of it, because what the characteristic of this AJ Hinch Tigers team from about this point last year, it was actually more the second week of August 11th or so, up until this point, is that they never compounded the losing. And they didn't let the losses bleed over or lead into other losses, a series loss.
Well, that's what their trademark was up until 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. And so the question is, can it come back? And I don't want to seem Pollyanna-ish and don't want to, be all sunshine and rainbows, but I do think...
Don't be afraid. Speak your mind.
I think they're going to have a good series against the Blue Jays. Don't ask me why.
You think they're going to bounce back?
There's no metrics. I just feel better for the fact that we have 4 actual starting pitchers and no TBD. And I also think the Blue Jays have been on a heater for the last 30 days.
They are. They are crushing everything.
Yeah.
I'm looking across their hitting metrics right now. It's not a pretty sight. And they're crushing everything.
No. And so my question for you is this. I'm a big fan, and I know you are as well, but can you build a franchise around Riley Green? Because these cold streaks, he is ice when it happens.
Build a franchise around Riley Green. Here is the kind of guy that on Tuesday makes you feel like we need nothing else. We got everything we need, cups full. And on Thursday, you're going, yeah, he ain't the guy. I love him as a player. I think he's from attitude, emotions, everything else, he looks like somebody I want on the team. I feel like he is a wonderful Scottie Pippen. Does that make sense?
Meaning that he is
a wonderful accompaniment to the stud.
He's Robin. He's not Batman.
He's Robin. He's not Batman.
I got you.
We need Batman. We need a guy with a bat that walks up there and strikes fear into. Let me ask you this question. And it feels foolish because Riley's an all-star. I mean, he's a great player, right? But when you think of World Series teams over the past decade, most of them have a guy in the middle of the lineup that the other team has to plan for and think about. When you got a guy jammed at the 3 or 4 spot, whatever it may be, and the other team comes in and says, we got to worry about that guy. We cannot throw him a strike. Cal Raleigh right now plays that for the Mariners in a lot of ways, right? Aaron Judge for the Yankees, Ohtani for the Dodgers. Riley Green, kind of like a Mookie Betts, okay? Going to do damage. Going to do damage if you take your eye off him. Not sure, and I'm not comparing him to Mookie. I think Mookie's a better player, in all honesty, okay? And that's not slighting Riley Green. Mookie's great. But you look at the arsenal some of these teams have offensively, you need a guy in the middle of the order that causes major problems regardless of whether he's going up a righty or a lefty. You need that guy that everybody has to plan around, pitch around, worry about. Because that guy makes 2 other hitters really good, right? So if that guy's in the 3 spot, your 2 and your 4 are going to be elevated along with him. So that's my take on Riley. I like him a lot. I think he's great. And 20 years ago, I would have been like, gosh, I'd kill for a Riley Green right now. 25 years ago. But right now, we're elevating ourselves. We're supposed to be in a higher air, right? We're a playoff team. If we're really going to compete at the end of the season in the big games, we need somebody with a little more, I'm going to kill you, instead of the guy that's like, I'm going to beat you up, sometimes. So that sounds silly. Put a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in there. Put a Acuna in there. Put
George Springer.
George Springer. See, now I actually would say, and you zing this on me, we haven't talked about Springer. I think Springer's a lot like Riley in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but the
needs an accompaniment.
But the difference is, guess who he has is his Batman.
I see what you're saying. Now I see where you're going with this.
Well, I was trying to say...
Well, he has Vlad as his Batman, and then he has 3 other Robins playing with him in Alejandro Kirk and Bo Bichette.
Exactly.
He's got some other guys in there with him. Right now, and look, the Tigers got some talent in there, okay? Dingler has proven... I wouldn't trade Dingler for another catcher at this point.
No, and I wouldn't trade Zach
McKinstry. Even if it was Cal Raleigh, because I don't think Cal Raleigh's going to do what Cal Raleigh's doing next year. I just look at Dingler and I say there's a lot of ceiling left there maybe for him, possibly. And McKinstry's gritty, and you couldn't ask for more, but these guys are all kind of support pieces who can rise and be the star of the game and be an all-star and all that stuff, but you don't have your guy that strikes fear in the opponent.
So I couldn't agree more, and you're talking me into the opinion that I'm not super interested in a half season or final 60-game rental, which was exactly what Eugenio Suarez would be.
If we give a tier 3 prospect up for somebody like Eugenio Suarez or a tier 2 guy,
he's not.
But I think he's going to. I mean, you have to go up against the Cubs who are willing to put all their chips in right now.
Or
their
the
front
Yankees,
office is in trouble.
Go into.
Or the Yankees are just always go in because they're just in constant reload mode. And we just aren't going to be that team because we can't get the free agent signings to make that work. We're never going to compete financially on that level.
So to go full circle on this, how much of a difference do you think Alex Bregman would have made if he signed with the Tigers?
That's an interesting question. And he's been hurt a bit in the first half, but he's back and he's played. But he also has elevated stats at Boston. We talked about this. He went to Boston for a reason. Does he hit that well in Detroit? Maybe close, maybe somewhat. Like, I kind of feel like Alex Bregman is a little like Riley Green. And that should tell you how much I think of Riley Green. But he's on that same level. He's an excellent, excellent side piece. But he isn't your date to the dance.
I'm with you. So that being said, I think we've talked about the trade deadline and talked about our stance on that. We'll see if Scott Harris agrees and see what the Tigers front office decides to do. Again, I'm going to go into this next series optimistic. I think the Tigers either split with the Blue Jays or take 3 of 4. Toronto doesn't play particularly well at home, meaning they don't have an enormous home field advantage. The Rogers Center doesn't necessarily play to any team's particular strength. It's just kind of a generic, carpeted stadium. So just a quick food take. Last time the Tigers traveled north to play at Rogers Center, we had a really good, funny quip about red light poutine in Montreal. We get, as your hosts, that Montreal is nothing like Toronto, outside of both being Canadian cities where a lot of people live and both being wonderful places. Therefore,
we got a lot of flack from Montreal people. All right. The French Canadians didn't like the fact that we were looping their food into Toronto.
I think they're still salty about losing the Expos.
Very salty.
Anyhow, we did want to do due diligence with Toronto. And so Billy P from the D has a quick food tip for you. For those of you in certain parts of the Midwest and certainly all over Canada, Tim Hortons is a delicious coffee and donut chain by a former all-star blue liner for the Maple Leafs, Tim Horton, who became an entrepreneur and restaurateur. My suggestion is you just get a black coffee. It's some of the better, if not best, fast food coffee you can have, and get a box of Timbits. They're their little donut holes in whatever flavor or variety, or just let them decide and do a mixed box. Or if you need to, they make a very, very Maine bear claw. Not my cup of tea, but for those that do like that, I would encourage you to try that for breakfast. I know our listeners in Michigan can probably hit up a Tim Hortons. We do not have it, unfortunately, in the Chicago area. I don't think you do in the Twin Cities. But we'd be remiss, we really like the food part of it. We've gotten positive feedback from our listeners. So that's our food take on Toronto.
We wanted to pay some respect to Toronto food eateries and whatnot for when you're at the game in Toronto. We're not trying to pump up the Toronto Maple Leafs, though. We're not doing that. That's not what we're doing here. The Maple Leafs still suck. We're only talking about food. Go have a Tim Hortons. You can get them all over the Detroit area. Upon moving, away from Detroit, I did not get to have Tim Hortons. I don't think I became the coffee aficionado that I am now, aka caffeine in the morning to wake me up. So I don't think I've had a Tim Hortons coffee. I feel like I need to go back and get some, or at least order for some beans or something. But the donut, go get a donut. And if it's not a Tim Hortons donut, just get a donut. A donut's fine. Everybody should have a donut tomorrow. Go find a donut somewhere.
Exactly. Tigers losing streak means everybody deserves a donut.
Say you got a Toronto donut, but it's not even a donut. It's whatever's on your corner. Go fatten up. It'll be good for you in the end, I'm sure. It'll probably kill you. But get some donuts, get some coffee, watch your games this weekend. We just wanted to give Toronto that little call out for their food.
It's a wonderful city. It deserves the love.
We screwed up and we kind of related it to Montreal and French Canada, and that was a bad deal.
It was too good of a story not to.
Easily. Red light poutine lives in infamy. All right. Now, on to the next thing.
So the Tigers have a 4-game homestand against the Blue Jays. The pitching looks good, meaning that we've got Reese Olson, we've got Montero, then we go to Skubal, and then we go to Flaherty. I would think because they're at home, a split is very much in the cards, if not taking 3 or 4. I think if we can just get the bats going again, get quality starts from 2 of the 3 pitchers I just mentioned, meaning that Skubal and then either Reese Olson, Montero.
Hey, we may have to scrap a game out in the late innings like we did in the old days, right?
Yeah. But we need the bats to get hot. I imagine Comerica is going to be jamming this weekend, despite the Tigers.
Hope. Even though they're in a little bit of a swoon here, I would hope.
Yeah. And so I think this is a very important homestand and one that's going to be a good measuring stick against a team that's played really well. And I hope the Tigers do well with that. And any other thoughts on your behalf?
Look, it's July, right? It's pre-deadline, pre-trade deadline. Our resident fan of the year, J.K. Simmons, mentioned in Game 2, if you're gonna have a losing streak, July's not a bad time to do it, and he's kind of right on that. June is better. July's even just fine. You want to do it before the trade deadline, before the August-September run. You don't want to fail in August-September after you made the trades. That's a killer. That'll kill you. But do it now.
Yeah.
Wake up the front office. Learn from the losses, as we said in the previous episode. Learn from the losses. And I think good things come from it. Give me 2 wins this weekend. I'll be happy at home.
There's only 2 times that you can bury yourself, and that is starting really slowly look at the Atlanta Braves this year and finishing horribly when you can cost yourself a division or a playoff spot.
A lot of us start slow and finish slow. How's that work? Is that... I'm not calling it, but I mean, it could be me, could be anyone.
Are you referring to
I'm just saying, for those of you out
Torres
there
on the base path? He starts slow, he ends slow, he finishes slow, everything's slow.
Some people have a hot middle, Bill. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. All right. Tiger fans, be good, be safe. We'll talk to you after this series.
Don't despair yet. We got to get through the month. We're going to cheer them on right down to the very end, guys. So you got a lot of baseball left. We got a trade deadline left. We got some summer baseball still cooking here. So we're going to keep pulling for them. We'll see what happens. Maybe they pull out of it and learn a bunch of stuff and become a stronger team from it. Hey, how's that? How's that for a silver lining? Either way, go Tigers. All right. That's going to do it for this episode of the Litter Box, a Detroit Tigers podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're Bill and Chet. We'll be back soon with more Tigers talk. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to follow or subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And hey, if you got a minute, leave us a quick review. Till next time, go Tigers.